Hello students, this video is for BBA third year finance specialization students and the subject name is SAPM, Security Analysis and Portfolio Management. Okay, students, in the last class, if you remember, we have discussed regarding the topic called underwriting, or you can say underwriting of shares and debentures. So in this video, or you may say in today's class, we will discuss another important aspect regarding issue of shares or debentures. One short note may also come in the exam from today's topic, and the name of today's topic is Prospectus. Prospectus, which is relating to issue of shares and debentures. As I said, one short note may also come in the exam regarding prospectus. So we must have a clear idea regarding prospectus, its meaning, its definition, and other parts relating to prospectus. So let's start. Prospectus. What is prospectus? Remember, my dear students, the concept of prospectus is always used whenever the question of issue of shares and debentures is there. So the companies, while issuing the shares and debentures, use the concept called prospectus. Now, Section 2, Clause 70 of Indian Companies Act 1956 deals with the term called prospectus. Section 2, remember that much. Section 2, Clause 71 deals with the name called prospectus. 70, take you back. 70. Section 2, Clause 70. Now, prospectus is a term which is always used by public companies. Remember, prospectus is a term which is always used by public companies only, or public limited companies only. Private companies are not having any kind of deal with prospectus, or you may, other words, you may also say private companies cannot issue prospectus. So the term prospectus is always related to public companies only. Always related to public companies only. There is absolutely no dealing so far as private companies are concerned. So the section of a public company, again, Section 2, Clause 71. Section 2, Clause 71 deals with public companies. Now the promoters play an important role for the purpose of prospectus, and their section is Section 2, Clause 69 of Indian Companies Act deals with promoters. So Section 2, Clause 70 deals with prospectus. Our today's topic, Section 2 clause 71 deals with public company, whereas Section 2 clause 69 deals with promoters. Now, whenever the public companies want fund or wants to raise fund by issuing the shares or by issuing the debentures, should always must use the prospectus or must always send prospectus. So for raising the funds, generally public limited companies always issue prospectus to the general public, because it is the general public who always purchase the shares and debentures as issued by the different public companies. So if we categorize, prospectus is nothing but it is a document or invitation to offer to the public. So prospectus is nothing but it is a document or it is also an invitation to offer to the public for purchasing the different shares or securities, or you may also say shares or debentures. So prospectus is nothing but, basically remember, prospectus is nothing but it is a document or evidence. You may also say document, evidence. These are the basic terms. Document, evidence, invitation to offer to the public for purchasing the different securities, maybe shares or maybe debentures. So from this it is quite clear that prospectus is always issued by the public limited company for the purpose of raising the funds. एक डायग्राम बना लेता हूँ ताकि ये चीज तुमको आसानी से समझ में आ सके. Now, dear students, there are two types of companies. There are two types of companies, as you all know. One is private company, second is public company. Private companies, as I already told you, has absolutely no dealing with the prospectus. Remember, one question that may also arise in your mind, sir, can the private companies issue shares and debentures? Can the private companies issue shares and debentures? The answer is 100% yes. 100% yes. The private companies always use or can always issue shares on debentures, because every company, if wants to raise borrowed funds, can opt for shares or debentures or issuing of shares or debentures. So the private companies, like the public limited company, can always go for issuing of shares and debentures, but they cannot issue prospectus. Prospectus is nothing but it is a document. I will discuss later on. It's a document or evidence or an invitation to offer to the general public. Now, public limited companies, for the purpose of public limited companies for the purpose of public companies for the purpose of raising the funds. Just look at the board. Raising the funds to the public. Raising of funds, public companies for raising the funds to the public generally issue a document. Generally issue one document, and such document is called as prospectus. Such document is known as prospectus. If you see the chart, the concept, the meaning of prospectus will be 100% clear. See, private companies, I put a cross mark, so there are absolutely no dealing regarding prospectus. They can issue shares and debentures. That is another part. But for issuing prospectus, they are not allowed by the Indian Companies Act. So private companies, forget about this. Only we will talk about public companies. Public companies, whenever raising the funds for the purpose of raising the funds to the public, can always issue one document. Such document is called as a prospectus. Such document is known as a prospectus. Now, generally a prospectus contains 400 to 500 pages. If you ask me strictly, sir, is there should be or is there must be 500 pages? No, strictly I am not saying, but generally prospectus of the companies always contain pages which ranges from, you may say, approximately 300 to 500 pages. Now 300 to 400 or even 500 pages, it means it is a long book. So there must be a detailed information regarding the company. From this, it is quite clear that since prospectus is having a number of 400 or 500 pages or even 300 pages, so it is quite clear from that it should always contain or it must contain the detailed information of the company. Prospectus, it always contains the informations like directors of the companies, promoters of the companies, who are the person who makes valuable effort for promoting the company, employees, company's annual profits, etc. So with the help of a prospectus, a rational investor can always able to get a detailed information regarding company's past performance, regarding company's annual profits, regarding company's future prospects, regarding company's objectives, regarding company directors, employees, promoters, financial position, balance sheet. So many things are there under prospectus. So prospectus is a vital evidence or document, or you may say an advertisement also. We may also categorize prospectus in the form of advertising also. You may also say, if you ask me, sir, can we say prospectus is an advertisement? The answer is yes, my dear students. हाँ, promoters prospectus एक advertisement भी होता है. prospectus को हम एक advertisement भी कह सकते हैं, क्योंकि because prospectus is always used for making an invitation to offer to the general public. So we may also say that prospectus is an advertisement also. We may also, public companies also use prospectus as an advertisement policy, but this facility is not available to the private limited companies. So there are certain benefits which has been given to public companies. So I think from the chat you should be able to understand what is the meaning of a prospectus. Section 2, Clause 70 of Indian Companies Act 1956 deals with the term prospectus. Let's see, or let's discuss some more aspects regarding prospectus. Now we will discuss the various contents of the prospectus in a very detailed manner. The various contents of the prospectus. First, number one. Now, dear students, after understanding the prospectus or the meaning of prospectus, we will discuss now in a very detailed manner regarding what are the contents that every company should put in the prospectus. Because as I said, prospectus is a document which contains generally pages from 300 to 500 pages or may 400 to 500 pages. So lot of things or lot of information regarding company's data are there. What are the data? We will discuss that. It's nothing but knowledge. The contents of a prospectus. The things that the company should put in the prospectus. What are those contents? Let's discuss them one by one, point wise. First point, name and address of the company. Dear students, the name and address of the company always plays a vital role so far as investors are concerned. Every investor, before investing the money, should always want to know about company's name and address. The company's name always plays a very vital role. For example, you are now in BBA third year. Very soon you will be completing your graduation course, that is BBA course. Now after BBA, suppose somebody is looking for doing MBA, Master in Business Administration. So the first thing while joining in any college, the first thing that comes to your mind being a student, that what is the name of the college, where I should do my MBA. The first thing, you always choose different names of the colleges who provide quality education regarding MBA. So the first thing that comes to your mind is the name of the college. Just like that, the investor, before investing the money, are always looking for the name and fame or name and address of the company. What is the company and where it is located? Where it is located. Number two, objects of the company. What are the objectives? What are the goals? What are the future prospectus? Future prospects. Sorry, future prospects. What are the goals? What are the key activities that has been undertaken? What are the upcoming projects that has to be completed on a shorter period? Now, those things should be disclosed in the objects of the company. So, the objects of the company should be clearly defined in prospectus. Next. Full disclosure of MOA, Memorandum of Association. Dear students, for incorporation of a public limited company, two documents are highly essential. Two documents are highly essential. Number one, MOA, Memorandum of Association, that I have just written, Memorandum of Association. Number two, Articles of Association, AOA, Articles of Association. So full disclosure regarding Memorandum of Association, and you may also say Articles of Association, should be there in the prospectus. Every prospectus must always contain the Memorandum of Association. In short, you may understand, Memorandum of Association is nothing but an agreement between the company and the respective state government or central government. For example, suppose TCS, which is there in Bhubaneswar or Odisha. TCS company is located at Bhubaneswar, near Infocity. So the TCS company, the TCS Odisha Limited, should make a MOA, that is Memorandum of Association, with the Odisha government before establishing its company in Bhubaneswar or in Odisha. Similarly, in Kolkata, similarly in other places, respective Memorandum of Association need to be signed between the company and the respective government, maybe state government or maybe central government. So it is nothing but an agreement made between the two different parties. Next, you also say the name and address of the directors. Yes, the directors are always very crucial for the success of any company. The rational investor should always want to know regarding directors data, also regarding directors information. Who are the directors of the company? Their name, their goodwill in the market, their address. So these all things should be contained in a prospectus. So this one is also one of the column number 4. 1 over, 2 over, 3 over, 4 over. Next, point number 5, the number and clause for shares or classes of shares. The number and classes for shares. Shares are of different types. Equity share, we already discussed it in first few classes. Equity share, preference share. What are the shares that is going to be issued by the company? The detailed information regarding the shares. Next, the point 6 is quite related to point number 5. The minimum subscription. What is the minimum subscription that need to be or required to be paid by an investor before investing in the company or before purchasing the shares and debentures of the company? What is the minimum subscription charges? For example, suppose company issue 10,000 shares, each share cost 10 rupees. Company issues 10,000 preference shares worth rupees 10 each. So the total amount will be 10,000 shares into 10 equals to 1 lakh. Now the company will fix a minimum subscription shares. For example, if Mr. Ram wants to buy 2 shares, so 2 into 10, because each share price is rupees 10. Mr. Ram want to purchase 2 shares, so 2 into 10, 20 rupees. No, it should not be. The company should fix a minimum subscription. As total amount of shares requires to 10,000 into 10, 1 lakh. So the company will fix for every individual investor that the minimum amount should be 1000 or 5000 or even 10,000 like that. 1000 or 5000 or even 10,000 like that. A minimum subscription amount is always fixed. Mr. Ram cannot invest rupees 20 by only investing or by only purchasing 2 shares. No, he has to purchase. If 1000 is the minimum amount, then Mr. Ram has to purchase at least 100 shares. So that 100 into 10 becomes 1000. If it is 5000, accordingly you may divide 500 shares. Mr. Ram has to purchase 500 shares, so that the minimum subscription will become 500 into 10, 5000. So the minimum subscription charges or minimum subscription is always fixed in the prospectus. Next, the remuneration payable to directors. The directors, what is the amount which is payable to the directors? The remuneration of the directors must also contain in prospectus. Now let's discuss what are the other contents. So dear students, we have discussed up to point number 7. The 8 content or the point number 8 tells that the name and address of the underwriters, very important. The name and address of the underwriters. In the just previous class, we have discussed in a detailed manner regarding the concept of underwriters, their role in promoting the company or their role in issuing the shares and debentures. So the prospectus must always contain the name of the underwriters. Who are the underwriters of the company? Depending upon which the company is offering different shares to the general public. So it means the underwriter's name and address must always be contained in a prospectus. Next, point number 9 tells us the amount payable towards preliminary expenses. Preliminary expenses is nothing but there are certain expenses. Remember, preliminary expenses means there are certain expenses which is incurred by a company at the time of incorporation, or you may say at the time of startup or at the time of establishment. So at the time of establishment, or better word you may use, incorporation. So at the time of incorporation of a company, there are certain expenses which is generally being incurred, and such expenses are known as preliminary expenses. So those expenses which is incurred at the time of incorporation of a company are known as preliminary expenses. So what are the amount which is incurred towards preliminary expenses? Such expenses need to be contained in a prospectus. Next, point number 10, the name and address of the auditors of the company. The auditors generally chartered accountants. Auditors is nothing but, auditor is a person who certifies regarding the financial position of the company. Auditors, the primary duty of the auditor is to make to audit. It means to make an authentication of the books of accounts of the company. Generally, auditors are chartered accountants. Every person to become an auditor must be a chartered accountant. There is no other qualification prescribed till now. You must be a chartered accountant for becoming an auditor of the company. So what is the role or what is the duty of an auditor? Auditor checks out the books of accounts of the company. It checks the authenticity, the accuracy of the different books of accounts of the company. So who are the auditors of the company? Their name and address should always be maintained or contained in a prospectus. Then particular, so we may also see the provisions. What is the provisions for reserves and surplus? What is the amount that is required? You may also say that what is the amount that is required towards reserves and surplus, because you may also say reserves and surplus are always used at the time of contingency. If there is any kind of contingency, then we always use the reserve and surplus. So dear students, these are the various contents. We will discuss different 11 different contents of prospectus. We have also seen the meaning of prospectus. So if in the exam one short note, if comes in the exam relating to prospectus, then I think you will be definitely able to write in the exam. Just write the meaning of prospectus, then along with the different contents of a prospectus. So just go through today's video very carefully, write down the notes that I will just send you after the video. If there is any doubt relating to this class or even previous classes, we will discuss that in the Google Meet session. That's it in today's video. Thank you.